So I usually try to not like I am pretty well aware of what's happening in the world, but I try not to like watch videos of things or like involve myself, but I could not help it because my Instagram has been nonstop with memes about the article that the New York Times released. It's actually a video from like a podcast, but they released a transcript. The one that was like titled like how women ruin the workplace or the workforce, and then they changed it to like how liberal feminism or liberal women ruin the workplace. And when I tell you that it just blows my mind how people that are so unintelligent can get away with saying so little, but then sound to people who might not know what they're talking to people that might not know what they're talking about or have a lot of knowledge on the subject. Like they might sound like they're saying like truth seeking and like prehistoric people, and like y'all, these bunch of morons. I mean, okay, let me not. There were two women, both conservative women, and one of them, she wrote a book that she's talking about how like we're all dependents, and like at some point we're gonna depend on people. And I think her premise of like why she's a conservative woman and she believes in conservative feminism, which is a wild concept on its own, but whatever, she had some valid points about like how we're all gonna die, we're all gonna depend on people. And I think she sees women like, I guess, not being in the workforce because we need to take care of people. And I kind of understood, and she wasn't as stupid, but the other woman, she was a ding dong. Oh my god. Her name is Helen Andrews, and she said woke and wokeness like so many times, and whenever someone uses that term, first of all, it just makes me laugh. Because like they use it like literally like if you're saying like rapist. It's crazy the way they use that term. But she basically said that like the reason that there's wokeness in the world and why that's ruining everything is because of women. Because women are feminizing the workforce to the point that she's like, her whole premise, she wrote an article which should tell you that she's not very intellectual. But she wrote an article, and basically she's saying how, I mean, the point of it is that like basically boys should be boys and ruffle and tumble, and women should not be able to like soften the masculine energy in the workforce. And like one of the women vices was gossiping. That's a woman. And surprise, surprise, do you know what a man's vice is? It's anger, it's abuse, it's sexual deviance. And like it's wild to me that we're like that basically she's saying, oh, it's fine, you know, we need places where men can be like this and women shouldn't be allowed to complain about it, and that's why our society is going to shit. Pero yo te digo, if I was in the same room with her, yo el gasnatón, because the other woman clearly she has at least some sense of a brain, and she was like, whoa, what did I get myself into? Why am I in this room across the sea from her? And like I wouldn't have been able to, porque el gasnatón que yo le doy a esa tipa por la comepingada that she is literally spewing. Like the fact that you're telling me that a woman, the bad things women make is gossiping, but then men sexually harass women and abuse them, like, woman. I was taking notes. I really was, because like every time they said a crazy ass quote, I was like, I gotta write this down. Like the way they were like, oh, when men are superior, because back in the day in prehistoric times when they would fight with each other, they would then like resolve it and then there'd be peace. No, come venga, there was no peace. They would subjugate the people who lost. That is not peace. They're like, oh, women can't take harsh criticism. Have you ever criticized a man? Oh, why are we stopping? Why are we stopping so hard? Have you ever criticized a man and they don't? There is not a man on God's green earth that can take strict criticism. When you criticize a man, they will find every way, every reason, every shape of form to deflect the fact that they made a mistake. I am sorry. Like every single point that they said, that she said, was absolutely so wrong. And you know what? I would love to have dialogue with someone who also watched it and sees things differently than I do, i.e., is on and the Andrew woman's side, because I would love to understand. I honestly, the reason I watch things like this is because sometimes I'm like, maybe, just maybe, I'm missing something, and I'm on the wrong side, and like there is some truth to the things that conservatives say, or and then I watch things like this, or I watch like news conferences, and the president talking, and then I'm like, no, there isn't. I really do. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt all the time, all the time. I'm like, maybe, maybe I am on the wrong side. Maybe we're to this or we're to that. And then I watch things like this and I say, no, no. And I'm gonna say, like, I have no issue admitting I'm a runner. And I have no issue admitting that, like, men are faster than women. Men and women are different. They're not wildly different. The way that transcript literally starts, like, we're not that different. We're different in some things. We may I say that loosely, complement each other in terms of, I don't mean like relationship wise, but I mean like strength wise. But I don't think that being a caregiver is something that is innate in women. I think it's something that is taught. And if you can teach it to women, you can teach it to men. And the other woman at one point told the dude, like, you're gonna die at some point. You're gonna need someone to take care of you. And that is the crazy thing. Like, that has become the woman's burden, to not only bear children, raise children, but also care for and they were talking about how, like, in like back in the day, like the men's role was to take like a bullet for the family or for the country and all these things. And it's like, well, we live in a pretty peaceful time, for this country at least, and like that's not the men's role anymore, and that's not really men's role in the world anymore. So like, espabilense. If like, why do we have to keep our way of being the caregivers and all these things when, like, your role is changing? You are no longer this like big, tough, mighty. And if you want, you know what? You want to go fight and shit? You want to go hunt my food? Give me fresh fish every freaking day? Be my guest. Go ahead. I go manly. But then don't expect all these, like, women roles to stay the same when you guys' roles aren't keeping up. You know? I don't know. Bueno. If you want to get a good anger out of, not your anger, I was trying to say a good laugh and get your anger out, and then I just combined the two. But I think it's worth watching, um, just to kind of see like how they, I don't even know the term, how they like manipulate information, and how the three of them, I'm gonna exclude the other woman because she had really valid points, and I'm gonna explore more about her and like what her book is about, because I understand the concept of dependency. But la otra is like off her rocker. Like, she really, like, when I saw her, I was like, there's something not quite right with her. Um, Valid. There is something not quite right with her, and I mean, like, something happened to her in her life, and this is why she's like that. But it's crazy how much of a woman hater she is. Um, and honestly, the worst kind of woman is a woman who's doing man's dirty work. Like, I have zero respect for you at all.